here. It's the LinkedIn Trifecta Talks. It's your monthly boost of LinkedIn tips and inspiration and banter and whatnot. And I want to welcome all of you, whether you're watching us live or in playback. Maybe you're watching us on LinkedIn, on YouTube, or hey, we're on Instagram today as well. We don't mess around here. We try all the platforms. My name is Brenda Meller. I'm one of the hosts of the LinkedIn Trifecta Talks. And what I'm going to do to start us off is just to welcome my two very special co hosts, Michelle Squared. We have with us Michelle B. Griffin as well as Michelle Raymond. And why don't we start with Michelle Griffin? How are you doing today?
Welcome. Happy New Year, everybody. It's good to be back to LinkedIn Trifecta Talks to kick us off. I am Michelle B. Griffin, the brand therapist, calling and tuning in from cold Pensacola, Florida. We're 30 degrees today. Can you believe that? It's crazy. I'm really excited to be here and talk all things. I think we're going to really make sure our profiles are in check for the new year. So I'll be talking about that. I work with personal branding for professional women with positioning, personal branding, PR strategy, roadmaps, and workshops, and LinkedIn, of course. So it's good to be here. Let's get it going.
All right, awesome. And Michelle J. Raymond, would you like to take us next?
I would love to. And I'm coming live to you from Sydney, Australia. And it's really cold here today, Brenda. I just looked it up in Fahrenheit. It's like 88 to 88 F.
Oh,
And I got to tell you, it's the humidity that's killing me. Can I whinge about that while you're in a blizzard or something? Are you these?
you can. That's
No,
totally. And I did ask in the pre-show. I said, remind me like what time of day is it and what's the temperature? And you were so kind as to convert it to Fahrenheit for me. So thank you for that.
I always have it on standby for Michelle Griffin. So, welcome everybody. And yeah, Happy New Year from me as well. I'm excited to get into this because I think it's that time of year where we're full of enthusiasm. Hopefully, you've had a good break. And for those of you wondering, I am Michelle J. Raymond, based here in Sydney, as I said, and I love to help companies create LinkedIn dream teams by, updating profiles or teaching them social selling and having a company page that rocks. So, that's how I love to help. This conversation every month is something that I end up probably learning as much as I give. So that's why I'm excited to be here as well. So, Brenda, tell me, would I even comprehend how cold it is where you are? I always get fascinated by the fact you live in a place that snows, and I've only seen it twice in my life. So, yeah, I don't understand it.
Yeah, and it's funny because we have actually had a very mild winter up until, like a week
no.
ago. We really didn't have any snow. It was very mild. We didn't get any snow on Christmas. And we got to, middle of January, and then all of a sudden, Mother Nature said, "Okay, you didn't get enough snow. How about this?" And then she flexed her muscles and she threw it all, and she froze things down. And we are on the verge of, I think, all the schools closing in our area tomorrow because it's supposed to be like 20 below zero. So
Oh my gosh.
32
In,
degrees Fahrenheit is freezing. And then below
wow.
that, you're frigid and your hands are numb. When you get to 20 below or 10 below, it's the point where you walk outside and you can't even breathe because it hurts. It actually hurts your lungs. Like you
I don't understand. Like I am sitting here sweating and it's
Same.
only 8:30 in the morning. I can't even understand how you live somewhere like that. So
Same.
it's really
they
nice
make them
to have the
tough.
seasons, right? That's what we all hear. It's really nice to have the seasons. I do love spring. I do love summer, winter, and fall. And honestly, it feels like it feels like it's never going to go away. But the winter is not that long, and the key is just layering. You need to learn to layer. And
Mhm.
I actually was thinking of you this morning, Michelle Raymond, because I was going out to take my dog for a walk, and we've gotten to the point in the season that my dog is now wearing a coat. Like she's normally
Oh,
not cold, but she goes out and she's like, she wants to go
oh.
for a walk, but she's like cold and shivering. So I've got her coat on her, and I'll post the picture later. But
Oh.
let's get our conversation started. I see our audience is starting to warm up, no pun intended, on LinkedIn, and we're starting to see all kinds of great comments coming in. And I realized I didn't even introduce myself. My name is Brenda Meller. I am a LinkedIn coach. I specialize in helping job seekers, solopreneurs, and business professionals to get a bigger slice of the LinkedIn pie. And each of us in the Trifecta group, we take turns here on rotating who hosts. And when we host, we get to pick the topic. So the topic for today, we're calling this Trifecta Talks. And let me just drop this into a banner here so you can see. So today's focus is for our LinkedIn Trifecta Talks is New Year. What's your focus? And
Hmm.
I have to share with Michelle Squared, part of the reason I came up with this is as we flip the calendar from December to January, I will do this on my own profile and on my company page. I kind of look at what does my profile look like and what does my
Hmm.
page look like? And is it clear to my visitors what my area of focus is? Because I think a lot of us, we tend to we set it and forget it. We set up
Hmm.
our profile once and then we don't go back and look at it again. So, what we're going to encourage you all to do in the audience today is to jump into the comments. If you'd like us to look at your profile, we'll be happy to do so. And I think now with StreamYard, since we're not doing an audio event, we can actually pull a profile up on screen and we can maybe have
Yes.
some conversation. I don't think we did that. Did we do that last month or did we just do
No, not
the
yet.
so maybe we could try doing that. If that would be okay, we might try and,
Hmm.
and try and do that today. Does that sound all right? And the good thing
Yep.
is when you're hosting a trifecta talk, you only, have to do a third of the conversation. But when you are
Yes.
the host, you get
Yeah.
to decide you're in the driver's seat. You get to like, I'm driving this ship today, and this is how this is
Toot that own horn.
right.
Yeah.
Before we jump in, or actually as we're waiting for folks to volunteer either their profile or their page for us to look at, and go ahead right now, go into comments and say, look at my profile. Or if you want us to look at your page, make sure that you tag your page in comments. It'll make it easier for us to find your page. As we are coming in, hey, I just got a notification on my phone. My kids' schools are closed tomorrow. So I knew it was going to happen. 20 degrees below schools. Um, as we are waiting for those to come in, why don't we just do a round table right now and talk about what is our individual area of focus or programs or things that we're working on for the year. And then I'll challenge our viewers and listeners to look at our profile and pages and make sure that we are doing the same thing that we're asking all of you. Make sure it's clear on
Yes.
our profile.
Good
So,
job.
Michelle, Raymond, do you want to go first? Talk to us about what's your area of focus for the year.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So I'm going to go into this year with the words planning and accountability, right? Which are not very inspiring for most people. But for me, I recognize that they're the kinds of things that I need to do to grow my business. Now, how does that tie into what we're talking about? That means I need to have a look at what are my business goals and then make sure that my LinkedIn profile is driving me towards those. Now, I recognized when I had a bit of a break over Christmas that mine definitely was, I don't know, probably lagging behind, maybe a 6 month lag between where I'm at now and where I was. So, what did I do, Brenda? I decided to run a free 30-day LinkedIn profile transformation challenge over on my YouTube channel so that as I updated my profile, I'm just sharing that with everyone else and they can come along for the journey. But what I realized is just how much you can grow and change in such a short period of
Hmm.
time. So, what I'm doing right now is looking at what are my goals for this year for my business. And of course, there's financial goals, but what other ones? For instance, I've decided that international speaking seems like a really cool thing to do. So I'm going to, aim towards different things like that. But that's not reflected very well in my profile right now. I also, over Christmas, had a look at some of the services and products that I offer and refined those, added some new ones, threw some out. And I want to make sure that that's clear. Like, how can you work with me on my profile? So I'll be rewriting my about section in the next week or so again. And for those of you who think that your profiles are set and forget, yes, it's something that should grow and evolve with you. And again, for me, start with the business goals and work backwards and make sure it's driving towards that. So I've got a bit of work to do. I'm putting my hand up to confess, but I'm excited because it's when I do it, and I know Michelle Griffin does the same, but after I've done it, I'm like, yes, that fits. That's me. That sings. That's exactly what
Hmm.
I want it to be. So it's worth the time and effort. So I absolutely recommend people. It's the time of the year. Set yourself up for success. And yeah, Michelle Griffin, I know you're the queen of tinkering with your profile. So where is yours up to at the moment?
I think good because, I sat the end of last year really kind of self-reflecting, looking inward on how I wanted to show up and serve, who I wanted to serve, what made the best sense, who are the majority of my clients. And around September of last year, I really decided to lean into helping women get out there, really, with the trifecta of positioning, personal branding, PR, which is my early career background. And so I dropped my coaching program like you, Michelle. I made action and simplicity in action. So I have one service, a roadmap service for one on one. I also teach it as a workshop, and then I have a LinkedIn for Leaders thing. So, and a keynote speak. So, speaking, training, workshops, or my and consulting, I simplify it, like you always say, Michelle, simplify it. And I'm really excited about that. So I'm really working on my positioning, differentiating, which I want to say is hard because I can do it as you most of us can with our clients, but when we go inward, it's hard for ourselves, even for me, which is what I love doing. But I'm really excited. So I flipped the switch in January, and I rebranding the name of my consultancy, which I'll have to tell you the funny story how that one ever was named, but it's now called Standout Women because that really is my motto, my mission, my mantra to help more women stand out, and doing that by own their lane. And that's another thing. My only focus, other than financial and building my clients and all that, my one big thing this year is I want to write my second book on my process called Own Your Lane. And I'm really excited. I'm putting it out visibly everywhere I can because come February 1st, my 4-year anniversary, I'm going to make some bigger announcements. But I'm putting the baby steps out there, which I always say start doing and make it public, right? We all know, Michelle, what happened in 2021 when I did that. I'm making myself not fail that way. Let's put it that way. So I'm excited about this year. And go check out my profile. Let me know if it speaks to what I just said. I'd love to test myself.
And now I have to ask Michelle Griffin, is this your first solo book or have you done a
Yes.
solo book before? So that's
No.
exciting too, right?
Yes, and I want a full disclosure. I tiptoed around it, sort of said it. I made like a one little post last year about it. Even wrote this amazing book outline in Canva. It's all ready to go in the back end. And then I pulled the plug because I realized I was doing too much. I didn't feel right. As I said in our LinkedIn Branding Show podcast that aired this past week, I felt friction versus flow. And I'm so glad because now I have more clarity on who I really want to narrow down. It was too broad. And that's the thing. I knew all along, all the time, that I was too broad. And I was just ready for my landing space, and now I've found it. And so this program, or excuse me, this book will be to that audience, which is so important. So yay to that. So please keep me
Right.
accountable.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do like again, since I'm hosting and I'm in the driver's seat, I'm gonna do like everybody who is listening to this live or in feedback, I want you, if you're connected to Michelle Griffin, I want you to send her a direct message and wish her luck on her book. And I want you to commit to checking in with her, maybe even do a little calendar reminder in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, check and say, how's the book coming along? Because I really feel like Michelle and Michelle Rabin, you can probably attest to this as well, like having other people check in helps to keep you accountable. And I feel Michelle Griffin, I feel as you're talking about it, I know it's a nerve-wracking process going through, but when you know you have supporters behind you,
Yes.
lifting you up and helping to guide you every step of the way, it'll help you to keep accountable. I hope that's
Yes.
okay. But again, since I'm driving today, you have no choice because
No,
I
I
just
love
told
it. I'd love it. And I'm going to be announcing more because I'm going to kind of write in public, just like I did my challenge in 2021 when I posted on LinkedIn in public. I need that. I'm never going to, I'll fail myself before I fail publicly type thing. And so I also signed a blood, sweat, tear agreement with someone. We're going to write our books together. So I have accountability partner. We're doing this back and forth. And it's not Michelle, by the way, unfortunately. This time we got, but we're writing our own solo book. So that's going to help too. But I highly recommend what you say, Brenda, because if you want something, you need someone to help you because it's hard doing it alone, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we're gonna get into our first profile because we already had one volunteer reach out with to look at my profile and tell me what you think. Um, Annette, this is actually a monthly LinkedIn Live event. I did have two LinkedIn Lives today. I have a morning event, which is my standard Tuesday, and then I realized we had two live events today. But this is our monthly Trifecta talk. So each of us take turns and we host the event. And today we are talking about, we're in the new year. So we're talking about new year, what's your focus? And each of us are explaining what our focus is. And we're going to challenge all of you that are listeners to look at our profiles and make sure that it's clear to you when you go to our profile. I have a couple of programs that I'm working on right now. I did just launch a new checklist yesterday, which is called Do This First. It's
Hmm.
for individuals who may be working but looking for a new job. And it's my list of things that you should do first before starting to ramp up your job search on LinkedIn to minimize that we're throwing off any red flags that we're looking and also to be aware of how our activities, the things that we're doing on LinkedIn can help to support our job search, and also to minimize the fact that our coworkers, our bosses, our clients, those people know that we're looking for a job. So it's called Do This First. That's something that I am launching. You can go to my profile and find the resource. I'm not even going to tell you the link because you should be able to find it from my profile. Followed up with that, I'm launching a program this month called Marketing with Meller, a little play on my business name, which is Meller Marketing. So I decided to call it Marketing with Meller. And this is more for solopreneurs that don't have access to marketing resources. It's going to be a monthly membership program with an annual option. And the only people who will be invited to join this month will be people who are on my VIP email list. I'll be launching it out to the public later this year. So those are the
Nice.
things I'm working on. The Marketing with Meller's not on my profile yet because it's only going to be marketed through my VIP email list, but the new checklist is on my profile. All right. With that said, so I asked our audience, I said, who would like us to look at your profile and provide you some feedback? And Nan was the first person who said yes. She said, look at my page. And she's actually referring to her profile here. So let me just pull this up on screen. And then I would say, let's each of us, maybe we'll take some turns on what we think Nan's focus is for the year. Um, and then maybe we'll take turns and we'll kind of see how this goes. But if it's all right, I'll start and then I'll pass the baton. We'll just kind of go down the line here. We're like in the Brady Bunch format. We're stacked
Mm-hmm.
side here. So, Nan, first thing is when we land on your profile, I see that you've got the open to work around your headshot photos. So, to me, it looks like you're looking for a job. The next thing I'm wondering is what is she looking for? And it looks like you've got keywords, talent acquisition, talent management, human resource business partner. So, okay, she's looking in the talent acquisition field. She's looking for an HR role. One thing I like to recommend is that if you're looking for a job, you have at least one of your targeted job titles in your headline field. My understanding is that helps you to come up in searches for that job title. Michelle Raymond, I see you're chomping at the bit. So you want to add something?
I just have a question. I'm not
Yeah.
sure that she is looking for a job. So I just want to throw that in there, even though the
Mm-hmm.
open to work circle, and this is, is that open to work looking for a job or open to work as a consultant? Now, I get the impression she's a consultant. So, Nan,
Mm-hmm.
like maybe as we go down the profile, you'll see, but just you can see how two different people looking at it with two sets of eyes can actually give you a different impression of the profile. So, and the reason that I went that way, Brenda, as much as I saw that, is I saw she had a company page where she was
Mm-hmm.
the principal and it was her name. But this is where clarity, which Michelle has, drummed that lesson into me over many years. This is the
Mhm.
thing. So what's your thoughts on that open to work? What is it you're looking for a job? Is that the general way that people think about it? And maybe that's distracting, or is it okay for consultants? I'd love your thoughts, Brenda.
Yeah, I personally don't have any problems with the open to work. We're referring to when you indicate to the public that you're open to work and you get that green scarf, so to speak, around your headshot photo. It does let recruiters know who are using the paid version of LinkedIn called LinkedIn Recruiter. It does let them know your account is flagged that you're open to new opportunities and new positions. I have heard a couple people say, well, what does that mean? Does that mean you're open to work for a new job or does it open to work for new clients for your company? On LinkedIn, it really means you're open to a new job, a new position on there. So I do have to admit though, Michelle Raymond, before I looked at her headshot photo, I was thinking, oh, it looks like she's self-employed, helping people with recruiting. But then I saw the open to work and I immediately changed my way of looking at her profile. But you do bring up an interesting point. And Nan, if you're watching this, go into comments and let us know if you are in fact looking for a new position full-time in talent acquisition or are you hiring? Let us know in comments if you could. While we're waiting to see if her comments come in, Michelle Griffin, is there anything that's jumping out
Yeah,
at you?
I want to clarify that because I think it's I'll just tell you my personal take. Everyone's different. When I have seen some people who are transitioning from entrepreneurship to corporate, and so they put it up, and it makes me say, okay, your door is closed. So if you're completely on the consulting side, take that off. If you're looking for a job, put that on because that is I just think it's confusing. So if you're trying to invite people in to consult with them, it chases them away in my book. I would also get a little bit more
Oh,
clear
yeah.
on the headline because depending on, once we clarify this question, we need to solidify that a little bit more and who you serve because it's a little generic right now. And the last thing, we can go to town on giving her all the tips because she's amazing, but I would definitely, once we solidify that, change principal to something else because when people Google your name, it just shows up as principal, and that's losing a complete opportunity to tell us more about who you are, who you serve, how your position different, all those type things. So do we have an answer from Nan yet?
She does. So I pulled her comment. She says, "I'm looking for a full-time job in
Okay.
TA, talent
Okay,
acquisition."
that
So
makes sense then. Yeah.
okay. So when you said change principal, what were you referring to? I apologize.
Oh, the experience section. We all know that when you Google your name, so they'll be checking you out, Nan. Your first experience is what Google pulls, and so it just says principal. We want to
Okay.
get more clear, especially now that we're going to position you. And let me be clear, I'm going to mostly refer to Brenda on this because I don't do career space job search, but I'm just talking overall positioning. You want to
Yep.
have that space to really define who you are and where you serve and all those areas.
I would agree and add to that. So I think what Nan is doing is something that a lot of job seekers do, which is if you do not have a current experience section or a current employer, quote unquote, in your experience section on your profile, you're actually penalized in search, meaning you're not going to come up in as many search results. So many
Mm-hmm.
people that are in career transition either create a consulting business that's just really a
Mm-hmm.
placeholder, or they actually are doing consulting while they're looking for a full time job. So it's not clear to us by looking at this, which of the cases is this? And you could run into a situation where a recruiter or hiring manager sees this Nan and they say, well, she's got her own business. She's not going to want to walk away from that business to find a full-time job. Or maybe Nan, you're just dabbling in this. You're just doing this for now until you get back to work. What I might suggest, Nan, is that in your experience section, you make it clear and maybe even in the first few sentences you say, while I'm looking for my next full-time job in talent acquisition leadership, I'm taking on part-time and project work through my consulting business. So that makes it clear, hey recruiters, I'm looking for a job, but in the meantime I'm not just sitting around waiting, I'm actually doing some
Mm-hmm.
part-time project work. Michelle, Griffin, how do you feel about that? Would that help from a personal branding perspective?
Yeah, I definitely think that's a great idea. I would just like to say principal could mean anything. I mean, it could even mean principal of a school, right? So let's just say, talent acquisition, senior leader, or something that just shows how amazing Nan is. So get more
Yeah.
specific in that language and messaging there. But I
Yeah.
absolutely think you're right about having an active thing. So just between those two things, I think she's going to nail it because Nan has a lot of experience. We want to get that out there.
It's so
All right, wonderful.
interesting how we all look at profiles from
Hmm.
different perspectives and take away different messages. And I hope as people listen to us workshop how we look at them, you can see
Hmm.
we're bringing our own experience, our different priorities on LinkedIn, how we go around it. And you can see just how open to interpretation that LinkedIn profiles can be for all of us. Us on stage are not excluded in this conversation. For those that are new to LinkedIn, you might come to our profiles and take a look and go, what are they talking about? What is Michelle talking about? My profile shows up on Google. Why do I care about Google if we're talking about LinkedIn? So you can see why clarity is like such an important piece of this puzzle and it's worth taking time. So I'm glad that we got it clarified. So she is open to work. I kind of took a different impression away from it. So, I think, Nan, if you can just take a moment and think, okay, if I definitely want to go for a job and I make that really clear, maybe sometimes it's stripping back some pieces of this puzzle to just kind
Mhm.
of make it a little clearer. So yeah, that open to work does the job, tick, big tick that it's going to do that piece of the puzzle. But just for
Nice.
others, and if anyone in the comments has some thoughts, like, yeah, always add in because we
Yes.
love to read them.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I did see this question. I wanted to bring this up on screen. I'm not sure if I'm saying your first name correct or not. Saeed, I believe it is. But this is a really good question. Could refining my profile too frequently be harmful, especially confirming concerning algorithms, etc.? Um, I have some thoughts on that, but I'm wondering if either of you, Michelle's, are aware of any algorithm penalty that exists with updating too frequently.
I think any algorithm something consideration, I normally throw those out the window and say, in this case, you want to make sure that that profile speaks to actual real humans. Now, I know that the algorithm determines whether you show up in searches and, to a
Mm-hmm.
degree, but I think it's more important that when you're active on the platform, that it reflects you and we don't worry about the algorithm. But that's my personal opinion. Michelle Griffin, where do you sit on
Yeah,
this
no, I
one?
agree with you. I know, like, if you change that first section and experience word Nan will, it'll take a few days to populate. But otherwise, you want to write for humans, but there are some times you want to make sure there's some appropriate keyword searches, not overstuffing by any stretch of the imagination, that are, in the right strategic places so that you will be picked up. I'm always refining, testing. Last year I had the brand therapist in my lead in, and then I realized I looked at my stats and I was getting served ads for medical software and searches. I was being nurse doctor. So, you got to keep refining it based on what your feedback is. And as Michelle said, it's not a set it and forget it. You always want to keep refining. So I think that's the word,
So the
refining.
question is Brenda a tinkerer? Do you set and leave, come back in a few months? How do you approach this one?
I'm a tinkerer, and I feel like I certainly wouldn't want to update my profile like every day or even like once a week, because I think there's something to be said with letting it simmer and cook and be found and if you think about the rules of SEO on Google, and there's SEO rules on LinkedIn as well. I don't think you want to change it too frequently, because then you don't allow your profile some time to be found for those keywords and phrases. And, I just heard something like last week. I don't know about you ladies if you use the pipe symbol in your headline. And this was a thread in one of the LinkedIn coach groups. It might have been Espresso Plus. I'm not 100% positive, but it was one of the LinkedIn trainers or experts group. And I think it was Kevin D. Turner who said that the pipe symbol actually means something. And it's not like it's like an and, or I can't think of what it's, a Boolean search, I think is the terminology. And he said the pipe symbol means something. So when you put it in between two keywords as a separator, it's actually telling the search results, I believe, not to read the second word, if I'm
Mm,
understanding. So he said, instead of using the pipe symbol, change it to use one of these. I don't know what it's referred to. It's like an emoji symbol for an up and down. So if you look at my profile, you may notice my pipe symbol looks a little different because I'm using one of those. I changed it a week ago, and I'm waiting to see if there's been any impact on search results. I haven't seen anything yet. And I have
mm,
to, as a marketer, and, I remember in the research world, you have to think about, could there be any other variables impacting your results? And the other thing we have to think about is January. We just came off of the holidays. First week of the month of January is always a little bit wonky. Now we're kind of in the regular pattern of things. So my search results could be coming up because people are
mm-hmm.
coming back up. I'm looking to see if there's a significant increase in searches based on that change that I've made, and then I'm going to wait. But going back to Saeed's question, I don't recommend updating your profile every day, every week, every month. I think tinkering, as Michelle Raymond said, is a better way. You want to modify your profile when things have changed significantly enough to warrant those changes being made, and that what you're reflecting on your profile is consistent with your business or your career goals. I'm going to keep this moving along because I saw another person who said, yep, you can look at my profile. And let's see if I can
As
share
you
my
pull that up,
screen.
Brenda, will you share that emoji with us in the comments later? Because it looks like the pipe symbol to me, although your pipe has a lot of spaces around it. So I'm curious to know what that emoji is. So,
Yeah, and the hack for that,
uh-huh.
I don't like to use the word hack because that sounds negative. Just go in and copy it and then
Okay.
paste it.
Okay.
Um, it's
It looks like it might take up extra symbols. You know how sometimes, like in the about section, emojis and stuff will take up a couple characters? I wonder if it eats some characters
I'm not
because
sure,
mine are
and
tight.
I didn't get a character limit. I typically will try to
Okay.
get as close to the 220 as possible that are
Okay.
inside
So I
there.
didn't mean to interrupt you. What was the
No.
cut and paste symbol?
So just go over, highlight. I highlight and I'm in a PC, and I just do Control C for copy and then
Okay.
Control V as in Victor for paste. I don't know if Mac users, if it's different, but that's
Oh
what I
yeah,
do.
that I'm a Mac, so I. I don't even know what that is. I'll have to. What are you trying? Well, we'll talk offline. You can tell us and maybe later come back and put it so we can try
Well,
ourselves.
Right?
while you guys sort that out, can I just say I love the words on this banner. I'm a words person when it comes to banners. And
Mhm.
Jane, I am drawn to yours 100%. So while they do that, I just want to say, love those words. I think it's really powerful and strong. There's a couple of other things that I would add, but I just want to throw that one out there while
No,
we,
Michelle, why don't
yeah.
Michelle Raymond, why don't you keep going? And any other
Yeah.
thoughts on, on Jane's profile?
Yeah, absolutely. So I love the words. I think they're really powerful and strong and direct, and they really speak to me. I guess on the opposite side to that, we've got the profile photo, which is a little bit blurry. It might be my old lady eyes sitting back further from my computer than usual, but the picture doesn't feel clear, a little bit far away and a little bit small. So for me, I think if you got a new photo and you don't need to go and get a professional headshot done, you can do a pretty good job with iPhones and etc. these days with the cameras that we've got. But I like a photo that takes up around 70% of that screen. And I mean, I don't know what you look like, so I don't know if it's a current photo or an old photo. Get the record during my profile challenge, Brenda. One of the
Mhm.
persons that's updating their profile, guess how old his profile photo was from? And I am not lying.
20
20
What
years
years.
you,
ago?
yep, 2004. So if you have a profile photo that's not from within the last couple of years, please take a moment to update it. So for me, there's lots of other things here, but that's the two things that really capture my attention. So strong, powerful banner, and then
Mhm.
the profile photo for me, I don't know the right word, but I'll say like weak compared to that if I use the same analogy. And I think it would just be so easy to fix. And it would be a big win because we want to build trust. And how do we do that? We're judging people. Anyone that pretends we're not looking at photos and judging people is just a liar. We all are. It's what we do. And so, yeah, I think you could fix it really quickly and easily.
I'm going
Okay.
to say,
Michelle.
Jane, I think your first impression factor, which is I call when you get on someone's profile, your banner, your picture, get it clear, and I like it. It's very inviting, and everything looks good. My only suggestion to you, because I know you've hit the nail, you've won the banner, the headlines intriguing. I would make your about section match that because it feels a little bit resume, and I think it's you should be more personalized because you're dealing with all this amazing brain stuff. I'd love to see that a little bit more written. I know you have the writing chops, so I'm sure it's just a matter of getting to it. And again, Michelle and her founder, you are so much more than a founder, Jane. That's what your experience section says, and that's what people, when they Google you, and they do, you're so much more than that. So maybe you could update that to show all the amazing work you're doing with brain fitness. So other than that, I haven't gone to everything else, but those are just some top high level, easily fixable things. So thank you for
And a
sharing that,
company
Jane.
page. And
Oh,
a company
company
Yeah,
page.
page.
company
Did I
page.
miss that? Did I miss that? How did I miss that? I was so excited about Founder, I guess. Yes.
I was trying
So
to figure out, um, from her profile, from Jane, from your profile, like who it is that you're serving, and are you self-employed? Are you looking for a job? Are you an employee of a company? I was trying to figure out that as we were as Michelle Raymond was talking, and then I saw, okay, you got a business page, or you had created a business in your experience section, but there's not a business page next to it. So I would echo, to say set up a free company page. It's easy to do. You can Google how to set up a free company page. You need to have a logo, but then you won't have this weird gray avatar. And going back to Michelle Raymond's point of you've got a really strong, image in your header paired with a blurry photo. And then I think about the same thing with your business page when you have that avatar next to it, which is a nondescript, it's not the logo. It makes me question, is this really a legitimate business? Is Jane working out of her basement? Did she just get started with this? Is this not a real full-fledged thing? As opposed to if I saw a logo next to it, an avatar or something like that, I get that warm, fuzzy feeling like this is a legitimate business. So while some of these things, Jane, are just these are cues that we get because we don't know you, we've not met you, we're just looking at your profile. So sometimes fuzzy photo can denote lower quality, or older photo, as Michelle Raymond was talking about earlier, can mean you're not keeping current, or you're hiding. Like, what else are you hiding from me if you're not showing us your age, your real truth for today? Um, so that's one thing I was thinking. And the other, as Michelle Griffin was talking about the about statement, sometimes I'm like, I want to just add to this. I like to think about your about statement is what you would say to me if we were at an event and I looked at your name tag and I said, "Oh, Jane, I see you work with Brain Fitness Academy. Tell me about that." And then you turn to me and say, and my pet peeve on this is it's written in the third person. You wouldn't turn to me and hold out your hand and say, "Jane is an award-winning brain fitness and high," like you would say, "I am." So I am. And would you say award-winning in your introduction to me? You might say, "I'm a brain fitness and high performance strategist. I work with my clients to help them do X, Y, and Z. And I created my business in 2019. And I'm so proud because I've actually won awards for my program, which have, really been a great industry designate." So I want to hear it like to be a little bit more conversational. Um, that's one thing that was kind of coming out at me. Either of the Michelle's, did you want to add anything to that before we move on?
No, I think
I
I know I've seen Jay in the comments. She's lovely and I think she's amazing. So I'm sure these little updates will make her just have a profile that rocks it even more. So thank you, Jane, for sharing.
And I
Um,
always kind of think about it like when you're writing those about sections, think about the person that's reading it. Why do they care about what you've done? So if those awards mean that I'm working with the best, it means that you've, studied more, you've got access to the latest information and technology and how to help people, then make it really clear, what problem do you solve? And I think for me, we forget that businesses exist because you solve a problem and you charge
mhm.
people money to take away that problem. So I like to kind of say, yeah, I'm amazing, I'm the best, but here's your problem and how I take away, those kind of things. So finding the right blend if you're a business owner. I think it's still the same for people looking for a job or employees. Like you still solve a problem for a company. So make that clear for people. But yeah, it's exciting to see how you can see how quickly and easily you can make a couple of changes and it just, elevates your profile so quickly. So yeah, I love all the advice that we're giving out today.
While we're waiting for the next one, can we be our own guinea pig? I just got a message and someone said, Michelle, when I search your name, you don't come up. Oh gosh. And
Oh,
so she said, could it be the capital letters? And I've had capital
yeah.
letters for 3 years. Is that true?
I
Can you?
actually think you are harder to find, and I only say that when I'm typing in my direct messages, of which I send you a million.
Yeah.
So,
Do you think it's
yeah,
capitals? Because I try to do capitals to stand out, but sometimes that could hurt you, right?
I don't
let
know.
me
I
have a.
searched for your name just now and I didn't type in capital or lowercase on anything and it came up just fine for me. I
But I
mean,
think
it's
it probably
certainly possible.
recommends because
Go
we
ahead.
talk a lot. So maybe that's what makes it easier. I was looking for one
Because
of
you're
my
top of
contacts
mind.
yesterday
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I haven't spoken to them for ages and I couldn't find it was actually my business mentor. I was like, where is her profile? Has it disappeared? So yeah, I think that's part of it.
That's
But
good to
again, just things to
know.
consider.
Wow. Yeah. So, yeah, if you have all caps, which not many people do, it might be a good idea to make sure you're in search. So, I might go back to lower, upper, lower. So, good to know.
All right, so this is gonna be a fun one, Susie Bullman. And I
I love
love
it.
there's so many things I love about this. Susie says, "Look
Love
at
it.
mine if you have time. I just started a new business on my own and was running a digital agency for years before this." And I think all three of us can relate to this because we were all
Hmm.
doing something. We were all working for someone before we launched our business. I
Hmm.
think this is such a fun profile. So
It
who
is.
would like to start here? We're looking at, is it clear to us what Susie does with her business? Who wants to start on this one?
I'll
I'm,
start and just say, I think it's fabulous. I think that it's so good to see something different, something fun, and
hmm
something that stands out. Of course, I'm going to mention about the company page, which I think Susie should set up because those little gray boxes that are sitting there on, to say mad little marketer, they don't look like they're part of the team. They're letting the team down. So I think very quickly, if you had a company page, even if you just set it up, you may not put a lot of effort and time into it, but it'll just legitimize the business and bring it in line with that branding. But I reckon for those of you that are watching this, I think, let Susie know how awesome this is because I just love this personality and I can't wait. And I hope that 2024 is a year on LinkedIn. We see some more personality out there because it's getting a little bland and
I love it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think this is
It's,
cool.
It's so much fun. It stands out. That first impression factor pops. And I see, Susie, just like yesterday, you announced your new role, your new company. So congratulations. That's so exciting. Like it's just, we all know the feeling and we just wish you all the best. I think you're like, remember what Brenda said just a few minutes ago? Your about section should be like, tell me about yourself over Zoom or in person, and you start that off really well after 12 years running successful digital marketing, blah blah blah. So I think it's short, but I think you can add a little bit more, as Michelle says. Talk about the problem and stuff. I haven't read it all, but I think you started off really great. Maybe add a little bit more. You definitely have more room to talk about some of the things you do and all those accolades. So that's my two
Brenda.
cents.
Oh, sorry, Brenda. I was going to say, Susie says she's got one, a company page, but it's not showing.
Yeah.
Can you show her how she could fix that if it exists?
Yes, and actually, I noticed part of the reason I noticed she had one is in her post that she said, "I'm happy to share that I'm starting a new position at Mad Little Marketer." When I clicked on that, it actually opened me up to the company page. So
Hmm.
the way that you'll need to change that, Susie, is you'll need to go to your experience section, and in your version of your profile, you're going to see a little gray pencil icon off to the side here. And then when you click on that, you'll be able to go in, and you just need to go into the company name field and backspace until you see the company appearing in the drop down. Since I have the floor, one other thing is, Susie, congratulations on starting your own business. So it says, I'm starting a new business on my own and was running a digital agency for years before this. I'm assuming, Susie, that you are not yet independently wealthy and you actually are looking for clients, paid clients. My concern is I love that you're giving people marketing advice for free, but what is your service? That's my suggestion for you to think about. I think it's great that you're bringing people in for impartial, free marketing advice, but then your headline reads happily unbiased because my motive isn't to get work from you. Are you not looking at all for any paid clients? I could be mistaken. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're just out there. And I'll use another person as an example, Jeff Young. He is retired and he does not do anything for paid. He just does it out of the goodness of his heart. He's out there working with people and he's not looking for any paid clients. He's just looking to share his expertise with others. So I want to help you, Susie, at the beginning of your business journey. If you are in fact launching your business to try to get paid clients, I want to make sure it's clear to me where I can go to do business with you or to pay you money if I want to get your expertise. I don't know if
Great
either of the
catch.
Michelle's, if you want to add to that.
No, that's a great catch, Brenda. I
Hmm.
didn't pick that up immediately, but now that I read it, I'm like, oh, I can just get Susie to do everything for my business for free. Like, so, yeah, that sounds like a great thing, and you might end up attracting the wrong audience. So, yeah,
Hmm.
great catch. I didn't notice that, to be honest.
Yeah, let us know who you're really targeting, to go even deeper on that, and I think some tweaks. But I love the branding, I love the positioning, but just connect it to either a goal
Interesting.
of hobby or business. What's that?
She has a business where basically she doesn't do the work, she matches clients. So
Hmm.
basically, client
Marketing
with marketer, and
matchmaker.
they do it. Yeah, like great name, Michelle. Great
Yeah,
name.
yeah.
Okay, so go in, and if you're still watching us, Susie, go into comments and let us know. And if you can provide any clarification, I see she's saying, yes, that's it, I'll do that. I'm thinking she's referring to the business page here. And her next comment, and I apologize, I'm going to take her off because we're covering Michelle Griffith's background there. She says, yes, that's right. I don't want to do the marketing work. I match clients and marketers because I just join people up. The marketers then pay me a referral fee.
Yeah,
That's a
I
really
would say
interesting
something like
business
a
model.
marketing referral or matchmaker, like, the Tinder marketing or so. Okay, no, it's not a good thing, but
The marketing matchmaker. I think we'll stick with that one.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's a lot better.
that's good. Awesome. Awesome.
The Tinder
All
of
right.
marketing. That's hilarious.
We got about 15 minutes left, and that I'm having an issue lately with StreamYard, ladies. I don't know if you find this as well, but all the comments that are coming on LinkedIn are not coming to StreamYard. So
We're going to record this and I'm going to send it to StreamYard because I complained about the same thing yesterday. And
yeah.
so they told me to reconnect the account, just to, by the by, reconnect your LinkedIn account and see if that fixes the issue. So I'm going to tell
But
them.
we're in the middle of a session. If I do
Not
that
right
right now, wouldn't
now.
it end the stream?
No, definitely not right now. But yeah, afterwards.
I think I'll try to go back. I know I do, and look at any comments, especially if you have any specific to tag all of us or one of us. And, because a lot of people watch on the replay and we can come back and help them later as well.
So what's interesting is I can see all the comments, Brenda, but yesterday as host, I couldn't see any of mine. So I feel like it's
Maybe it's
for
a host
hosts.
thing. Jinx. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to refresh, and you know how it is too when you're hosting, you're kind of doing pilot and co-piloting and trying
Yes,
to look at
it's
comments and go
hard. We
through.
almost need a moderator,
And
to
if,
help
and if
us.
we disappear, goodbye, everyone.
Okay,
Just
don't want to do that. So I'm just gonna do a refresh inside LinkedIn because I feel like right now I StreamYard comments are unreliable. I feel like the baton's not being passed over on
Hmm.
here, but on LinkedIn I can see everything that's coming inside here. Okay, so let's see. There was Annette had a comment. She said, I find names in all caps sometimes hard to pull up, particularly
Mm,
when I'm trying to tag someone. Have you all had that experience too with when trying to tag? I actually, now that
okay.
Annette mentions that, when I do the post about this event, I do sometimes have a hard time getting Michelle B. Griffin's name to load when I'm
Well,
tagging.
geez, that's killing me right now. I'm gonna have to run away and after this and go lowercase. So can't have that happening. Good to know. We found a thing, so we're learning as we go and our own guinea pigs. So thank you, Annette. Appreciate that.
Okay, so I see a comment that came in from Dale on LinkedIn. Okay, it is in StreamYard. Here it is. So Dale had a question. What if you're open for contract work but are not actively pursuing it? So I guess need a little bit more information from you on this, Dale. Are you working full time as an employee and trying to do like a side hustle with the contract work? And is that why you're not actively pursuing it? It's not worked into your profile. That's my initial thought on there. Michelle Raymond, do you have any thoughts on that? Or Michelle?
Yeah, I don't know if you can be half in and half out,
Yeah.
but and I know that this is a challenge that comes up for people that have side hustles as well, or working full time and trying to, build something else in the meantime. I've had many people reach out recently about that. Okay, so how do I write an about section where this is what I'm doing now, but I'm trying to build this? Or how do I have a LinkedIn profile that reflects where I want to be when I'm currently working somewhere else? Which is one of those juggling acts, which I don't know that there's a one size fits all, because it comes down to, well, are you trying to hide something from an employer because you don't want them to know, or you don't want to get too busy because you're not quite ready? Like there can be so many different ways, I
That
think.
could be,
Michelle
yeah.
Griffin, what do you think about this
Well,
one?
first of all, I mean, I know people personally who work full-time jobs and their company is pretty cool and lax, I guess, and they all they do is talk about their side brand or whatever. Side brand is what I call it versus side hustle. And
Mhm.
so obviously you'll pay attention to what your company mandates and depending on at that avenue. So I almost like to say you almost need to get into it. Like if you're equipped enough and you're ready to start taking clients and your company is allowing it, it's totally cool there. I would say what's holding you back? I mean, no one's going to start believing you until you start talking about it, start talking about the pain point and all the things you do. So I would position yourself for what you want, not for someday down the
Uh,
road.
so it
So,
says he just retired as a full-time professor.
okay. Well, he
Congratulations on
is,
the retirement.
yes, he
Yeah.
is ready. You are so
That
ready to
makes sense
reposition.
then.
Yes,
That makes
yes.
sense. Isn't it
I was
funny
gonna say if it's
how from sorry, I
oh,
was just going to say, isn't it funny how from a few words all of us have this perception of what it might be, or our brains go to these different places. The words that we choose are so
Words
powerful.
matter. Yeah.
And when they're missing, we just make stuff up. Like we've gone all off on
you
tangents.
fill in the
It's
blanks.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why a personal
I was
brand goes with you everywhere. Like when you develop your personal brand, and
yeah.
sometimes I even see people who work full time and still, if their company's cool, that have their, Michelle B. Griffin, whatever. So it's always like you're developing your personal brand. You're supporting your company while you're working with a company. But when you leave that company, you got to take it with you. So that's why I'm always advocating to have your own entity. So you're ready, Dale. Go for it.
So Dale, I would do what Michelle Griffin did earlier. She announced it about her book. She like told people, "Hey, I'm going to do a book this year." So start Dale by announcing it, and maybe you do it in a LinkedIn post. I'm going to be starting to do contract work where I'm doing consulting or coaching in the areas of X, Y, and Z. And you could even put it out to an ask to your network. Any advice for me as I'm getting started? Or
Yeah.
you could just kind of let people know that I'll be opening up a website or a company page or something like that soon. So just start planting the seeds, and I think a lot of people, especially people that aren't comfortable with marketing, they feel like everything needs to be perfect before they go out and launch, and announce
Even
things to the
people who
world.
are
I
comfortable
actually
with
think it's
marketing are scared.
right, but I
Yeah.
think it's
Yeah.
better to do like I've been talking about this marketing with Meller program for like 2 months now, and you can't find anything on my website about it. Nothing exists yet. But I've got people that are like checking in, like, is it ready yet? Can I enroll? And I'm
Mhm.
trying to build up a little bit of interest and momentum before it's even there. And I mean, Dale, if you're not ready yet, or maybe you're not committed to doing a website yet, you could just create a company page and not even link it to your profile until you're ready to make that announcement. That will help that ramp up process when you are starting to actively pursue it and try to
Mhm.
get some clients.
Yep.
All right, I see one more, and we got about 10 minutes to go here, so I think this might take us towards the end here. Taleb had a question, and I apologize if I'm saying it incorrectly. Hopefully, I got that right. But he says, I'm curious, what's one game-changing tip you'd recommend for optimizing our LinkedIn headlines to stand out and connect better in 2024? Ooh, this is a good question.
Ooh.
All right, who would like to start on this one?
I'll do it.
Okay.
Other than the obvious of being clear on who you are and who you serve and how you do it, nail that, front load the good stuff. Okay? So don't put empowering in the first 50 characters because you and thousands of people do that. Like I want to know in the busy feed and the comments and every word follows you what you do. So my antenna goes up, it anchors in my brain. So the first 40 to 50, whatever it is, kind of be a little clear on who you serve so I can not scroll past you if you're someone who can just completely change my life. So that's that. Oh, and use wordcounter.net to count those characters.
Oh, word counter done that. Haven't heard about that yet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. All right, Michelle Raymond.
Oh, I'm in the spotlight. One
I feel
game-changing
like she
tip.
stole the good one, you know?
I
Oh,
know,
sorry, did
right?
I? I thought
No,
it was a like the less important one, but okay.
I tell you what, because I'm literally kind of re-workshopping my own one at the moment, and maybe I can, kind of offer some advice. At the moment, it's not what I like, and I kind of just changed it once yesterday to mess around with it. Those first 50 characters are definitely important, but I'm struggling at the moment between do I put just down some of my credibility pieces or do I do something creative, which is more in line with my personality? But creative and clever is not how people find you on LinkedIn because it means something to me and may not mean something to other people. Just like Michelle said before with the LinkedIn brand therapist, I think I'm probably having a similar issue with creating LinkedIn dream teams on mine. So I think my tip would be based on my own experience that I'm going through right now is choose clarity over clever because things that sound cute don't always translate well to other people. So maybe workshop it with some people around you. But yeah, I don't know. I'm struggling between the how do you be different and what works, because I think it's fun to have different headlines.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. That's
Clear, different,
I
incredible to get the trifecta. And speaking of trifecta, to nail that, man, that's winning the
220
lottery.
characters or whatever it is
Yes.
to nail all your work experience, who you are as a
Oh,
person, what
it's so
values you
hard.
have, what you do for a business in 220
It's the
characters.
hardest part on LinkedIn. It is by far the hardest part to nail on LinkedIn.
But I would say what you do, who you do it for, and the transformation you give is probably my simple tip.
Yeah, that's good. So I'm going to add on to what you both said. And Michelle Griffin was talking about the character limits, and Michelle Raymond was talking about using the right keywords. I'm going to add, but it's kind of a similar to what both of them said. And this is what I would do if I were you, Taleb, is go to your activity feed section and look at your latest post and look and see what you can see in the previewable area. Because Michelle's saying 40 to 60, and you actually seeing what the characters are, I think it can help you to visualize that. And then look at it on the mobile app as well, because you'll notice that it might be a little bit shorter there. And then I look at your comments as well. You should be commenting, by the way, because that headline follows you around when you reply, when you comment, when you post. So make sure that you're commenting and look at your comments and see what's in the previewable area there. It's usually pretty close to what appears when you post, but sometimes the characters are a little bit different there. And I want you to think about when you read that, when you see your name, your photo, and a portion of your headline, is it interesting to you? Like I think that's an important, it shouldn't just be job title at company, and it shouldn't just be a helping statement or what did you say, Michelle? Empowering, like not
Yes.
just that adjective. But I want when you read it, I want you to I want you to be like excited about like what you're seeing in that statement as well. And I think above all, I mean, we're talking about today, our whole focus today is new year, what's your focus? So is it clear to people visiting your profile who do you work with? What do you help them with? And how you're going to help them, to Michelle Raymond's point, with the transformation. Like, what is working with you going to do to help them? So,
And the hint is, if people aren't reaching out to have conversations with you, it's not working. There's something in your profile. And I went through a little bit of this as I'm trying to move into wanting to work with corporates with B2B and, do bigger training sessions. I realized that a lot of the consultants that I typically work with have dropped off. And so I'm going through like this awkward phase of, I kind of want to get here, but right now this is where I am and this is where, I'm working with people. How do I have my cake and eat it too? Which is never really going to work. So trying to find that balance is tricky. So if you've had some problems with it, totally, we all can, sympathize, empathize with you on that one. But for me, it is, if you don't get the right people reaching out to you to work with you, or the right job, employers kind of thing, it's time to do some tweaking.
yeah, good point. All right. So I think what we're going to do now is we're going to start to wrap up. And I want to just give each of us the floor for some final comments, because what is this? This has really been for all of you today. It's a free sample. You got to hear from and learn from Michelle Squared, Michelle B. Griffin, Michelle J. Raymond today. You got to hear from me, Brenda Meller, today as well. And this is what we do for a living. And we love to come together once a month and offer you advice and be here with all of you. But we want to remind you that we are all, I like to say, enthusiastically self-employed, because I think that's a nice way of categorizing what we do. But we do not get paid unless we get clients. I'd like to end us with just a reminder about, if you're interested in working with each of us, a quick summary of the services that we are offering. So, Michelle Raymond, I'm going to pull you into the hot seat.
It's like,
Would you
oh, is
like
it
to go
me?
first?
I will go first. So yeah, how do I work with businesses? So I love to work with people who are looking to leverage LinkedIn to grow their business. So that's essentially, how do I do that? Training is my specialty. So I'll teach you how to actually have a process in place that is designed for you to sell more and attract better opportunities on LinkedIn. I also rewrite LinkedIn profiles. It's something that I never thought I'd say I love doing, but it turns out I just use my sales experience to find out what makes you unique and special. And one shout out, I am running my 30-day LinkedIn profile transformation challenge over on my YouTube channel. It is 100% free. At the moment, Michelle Griffin's going mad at me in the background going, I'm crazy for doing this. So it might be the very last time that it's ever free, but I'd love it. I put the details over in the comments, and if people can come over, and all you need to do is subscribe to my channel, watch the videos. You can play catch ups, or, choose which pieces of the puzzle you really need most help with. And yeah, I put a lot of effort into it, I can assure you, but it is part of my kicking off my year planning and accountability. Said I'd do something, making sure I do it. So more power to everyone else, and good luck with whatever your focus is for this year to grow your business. So Michelle B. Griffin, over to you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. So, yeah, I'm excited to wrap this up and look forward to next month. But if you're a professional woman that are just ready for that next big thing, you're tired of feeling hidden, held back, unsure how to introduce yourself, talk about yourself, communicate what you do, and you are ready for something big and better, that's exactly what I do as the brand therapist. And I've narrowed it down to make it super easy. I help you create your own visibility, personal brand positioning, and PR roadmap. I make that in a one-on-one setting, 30 days or less to be a visible brand authority. And it's an accelerator, roadmap, all the tools you need to stand out, step out, and get ahead. And then I also teach that in a workshop. And I also work with organizations and groups and event planners to empower, there's that word. In this setting, it's perfect. They're female audiences with LinkedIn and personal brand training, speaking, and workshops. So I make it pretty easy, because at the end of the day, I'm really helping you own your lane for opportunity, impact, and outcome. So if you're ready to, get started, head on to my profile. I also, if you're someone who's on the sidelines on LinkedIn, been there, done that, I have a free community of 1,700 people plus. Head to my profile and come join us. It is peer run, peer supported, and think of it as your training wheels to start getting on LinkedIn. That's what we're here for. So over to you, Brenda.
All right, awesome. And my catchphrase is, I help you to get a bigger slice of the LinkedIn pie. So first, I'm going to start with a soft, kind of a fun ask. If you ever come across pie memes, pie humor, pie trivia, send them to me. My husband just
Yes.
emailed me and he's like, "Did you know that January 23rd is National Pie Day?" I kind of did, but I forgot about it too. So January 23rd, you'll be seeing a Pie Day post from me. Part of that is I think business should be fun, and I think we should have something that's a part of our personal brand that's non-business related, because when you think of pie, I want you to think of me. And when you do see anything pie related, I want you to send it to me. A lot of times I'll feature those as posts. With that said, I do work with solopreneurs, with job seekers, and with working professionals as well. I do some LinkedIn team training. I do some online courses, and I've got a lot of really exciting things that are coming up. Best thing would be to get on my VIP email list. If you go to mellermarketing.com/subscribe, I send out weekly emails with LinkedIn strategy tips, podcast notifications, and then, of course, announcements about my new offerings. So, with that said, we're going to wrap this up. We are going to be meeting monthly. I believe I'm passing the virtual baton to the host
Which way to
position for
do it?
Michelle J. Raymond for
That can't
next
work out.
month. Right? I don't know if we can pass the baton
I don't
virtually
know
or
if
not,
you see
but
this.
I think date is TBD. We try to do this around Tuesday, maybe second-ish or third Tuesday of the
Mhm.
month. So stay tuned for, or Tuesday our time, but Wednesday your time, I should say. So stay
Might be
tuned
a
to
little
Michelle.
bit earlier, just flagging that because I'll be in the US. So,
Oh,
yeah, so I head to the US in the middle of February for 3 weeks. So look out, world, I'm coming. So might have to adjust those dates.
all right. Well, more information coming soon. As soon as we get the date locked in, all three of us start promoting it. So just make sure that you're
Mhm.
following us for those updates. With that said, ladies, thank you so much for
Thank
joining me.
you.
This is a great chat today. It was great to see you.
Thank you, Brenda. Bye,
Amazing.
everybody. Take care.
Have
See
a
you
great
next month.
day. And I'm going to do a countdown ticker as we roll off here because there's always a little bit of a delay, but the countdown is just to end us. So, with that said, have a great evening, have a great day, and we will see you all on LinkedIn. Take care, everyone.
Bye.